Welcome to Christian Brothers High School Football. It's week number 3 of the season. Eli Savoie with you as we get set for our Lilly Company pregame show. As tonight, the brothers, with their 2-0 record, get set to battle Lausanne for the first time ever. We are now joined by the head coach of the Purple Wave, Thomas McDaniel. And coach, last week, another easy win over White Station and another impressive showing by your backup quarterback, Hunt Hedgepeth, who, since taking over that in that spot after the injury to Cole Frazier in week 1, I don't know if you could have expected what you got out of him over those 2 weeks. Could you have?
You never know. I mean, I'll say that going into the Fayette Ware game, we thought he was one of the most improved kids on the roster. He had kind of a transformational month in July where he really started getting comfortable, figuring out the offense and playing with confidence. So obviously we're super proud of the way he, handled the situation. We played a JV game prior to the Fayette Ware game where he, did really well. The first 2 weeks are a little bit difficult to judge because ultimately at the end of the day, even though structurally different, both defenses, we're going to stay in one front, try to load the box, play man coverage, and there's years where that's been able to be successful for people. Right now, it appears that if you do that, we've got the ability to hurt you in a couple different ways. So, again, ultimately, he's felt comfortable. He's done a great job leading us, and it's always nice to know that, you've got multiple quarterbacks that can go in and help the team win.
Cole Frazier will make his return for tonight's game, but regardless of who the quarterback is, it helps when you've got a guy like Javon Slayton. And we talked last week how against Fayette Ware, they were making sure they had a guy over the top, weren't going to kind of let him beat them. Last week, White Station decided they were going to try and play him one-on-one, and we saw what the results of that can be. I mean, he is, with his speed and elusiveness, he's really tough for one guy to guard.
Yeah, I mean, he's a matchup issue. And again, ultimately for us, we're going to pride ourselves on the run game. I think the offensive line is one of our strengths. An extension of that is our H-back and Nick Nellis, and we have a tight end in William Umstead. So, if you want to load the box and play man coverage, I think we have ways to, manipulate that to where we can have success. It's, again, not super complicated. And as the season progresses and the defenses change and the schemes change, those things, the formula from week to week is going to, it's going to change a little bit depending on the opponent and the defensive looks you get. But we think we're going to be able to line up against most people and run the football. The answer for most people is going to be you got to get another hat in the box. If you're going to do that, then you're singling up somewhere. So, obviously in the first week, Caden Starnes made a couple plays. Trey Burst made a couple plays. Trey made another big play Friday for us. Jackson Carroll got a touchdown this past Friday. But, just, again, giving ourselves the best opportunities to put the personnels on the field that give us success is, part of the strategy. And at the end of the day, call it what you want, but our identity is the two things that I think that I preach to our guys all the time that I think they know is we're going to try our best to outwork everybody, and toughness trumps everything. So we're going to try to be as tough as we can be. I think we're pretty disciplined right now. I think we're focused. We have great, team chemistry, and I think our kids take a lot of ownership in the fact that we want to try to dominate the line of scrimmage. And again, whether it's Alabama and Florida State or whether it's us versus Lausanne, the battles most of the time are going to be won up front.
And defensively, you certainly are winning those battles. Your starting defense really hasn't given up anything through the first 2 games. You get, obviously, the kick return, and the other touchdowns have been scored late in games. So what have you seen from your defense through 2 weeks?
Not a lot. I mean, again, I think we've gotten more out of it offensively than our defense has. As I told you early on, I think our defense is going to be really solid. I think we've got a lot of pieces to be successful. We've got depth in multiple positions. We've played the way we should have played. Again, as we continue down this road, each week gets a little more difficult. But I'm happy about where we're at right now. But again, we've got a much bigger challenge ahead of us this week. Very skilled on the perimeter, decent size up front, dynamic running back, and a dual threat quarterback. So, we've got our hands full this week. It'll be interesting to see how we can hold up in the box and be able to continue to defend the perimeter because they do so many things outside. But again, communication, getting lined up properly, understanding the situational calls, and then tackling in space. Like at the end of the day, you got to be able to tackle. Some of that is effort and getting people running to the football, but that hasn't been an issue for us. I mean, even Germantown, which I think most people consider to be one of the best teams in the area, struggled to move the ball on us. So I think if we stay healthy, we keep the same mindset we've had, and be workmanlike in what we're doing, I think our defense is going to be a strength.
In week one, the special teams, obviously with the 2 kick returns. Last week, giving up a kick return. I know those things drive coaches crazy. Because those could be kind of game-changing things. So how do you kind of correct that?
Well, I mean, obviously, so the kick game, really is probably the phase of the game that you have the least experience when you go into your first contest. And, obviously we feel really strong about our return game because of Javon. We feel really strong about our kick game in general because of Jake and his experience. But, we had somebody that got injured on a kick in the coverage. We had another guy get out of his lane. And, again, when you give the ball to an athlete and we're not in, appropriate coverage in our lanes, big things can happen. It was disappointing, obviously super frustrating for me, but it's something that we've moved a couple people around. We're schematically evolving a little bit there. It's not something I'm necessarily concerned with at this moment, but definitely not something that you want to make, a habit for the future.
So this meeting with Lausanne, first time ever meeting them, obviously a big part of the story will be that Kevin LeCastro, their head coach, was a longtime coach here, making his first ever return here to Christian Brothers. First of all, how'd this game come together? Why now the meeting with Lausanne?
So the TWSLA, to try to help the private schools with scheduling, did cross-conference, cross-classification games, if you will. So based on your enrollments, the higher enrollment in 3A got paired up with the higher enrollment in 2A, which us and Lausanne were, obviously the matchup. So it gives both of us another game that we don't have to go find and travel and do all that stuff. At the end of the day, like if you're just a diehard Christian Brothers guy and you've been around the program for years, you're aware of it. But for the most part, I mean, our kids don't know who he is.
No.
He wasn't here when I started working here. I've been here for 11 years. This is about our 2025 football team, and I'm not making it any more than that. At the end of the day, we got to go out and play well for 48 minutes.
I'm one of the only few people who actually go back that far with this program, which has been a long time. But you talk about them, and they are a really solid football team, and they've got some dynamic guys. Lawrence Britt, a big part of that, a highly recruited guy. What are the things, as you mentioned, it's a bigger challenge for you defensively that you've got to do against their offense?
Well, again, defend the whole field. I mean, again, quarterback that can run and throw, perimeter players that when they get the ball can make things happen. They'll try to stretch you vertically, a lot of things horizontally, tackling in space, and just being able to communicate, make sure we're in the right coverage, the right calls. And it's difficult because not a huge sample size. Mm-hmm. I know that, like, defensively, for example, for them, they went into their first. They've only got one game. They didn't have a second game, and they had some injuries. So, 2 D linemen were out against Southwind. So we really have an idea of what we think the presentation is going to look like. But at the end of the day, until we get out there, we don't know exactly what their thought is going to be to try to defend us. So we got to be able to adapt and improvise as we go. And then, again, making sure we are in the right spots. Every gap and every assignment's got to be clean because, if one person fits a perimeter screen wrong, it could turn into a big play. So definitely athletic, talented. We feel like our numbers are a strength for us. Our depth is going to be better than theirs. So making sure early, don't give up any explosives. Ultimately try to wear them down with our depth, and because their guys have to play a lot on both sides of the ball.
Knowing what you've got ahead of this with the road games, Brentwood, NBA coming up, I mean, do you kind of feel like these next few weeks is when you start really getting an idea of what this team is?
Yeah, I mean, I think I told you early on, the schedule sets up kind of ideal. Every week gets a little more difficult for the first several weeks. Not too high, not too low. I think our kids are pretty even kill. Obviously every time you get a chance to go out and compete and have success, it's fun. As I've said before, the fun is in the winning, but what we need to focus on is just getting better every day, getting healthy, which we are, and then playing our best when it matters. So I don't know how good we are right now. We've played well. We've done what we're supposed to do, but the task gets a little tougher each week, so it'll be interesting.
All right, Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
That is Head Coach Thomas McDaniel. We've got more of the Lilly Company pregame show coming your way as we get set for kickoff between the Brothers and the Lynx. This is Christian Brothers High School Football.